Hello. Just wanted to make a quick little update video on a couple of the recent cuttings from the UFC. Jailton Almeida is one of them. I'm not too surprised. I mean, I thought he never had the most exciting style, but, in previous fights he was getting submissions and knockouts. The big thing that stood out to me was when he fought Derek Lewis, and he couldn't get a finish on Derek Lewis. He had back control for majority of the fight, was holding him down, had all the chances in the world to put in a rear naked choke, and didn't seem to want to do it. And I think, like I said before that, he was getting finishes. He was much more exciting. I personally thought he could have been much more successful. So a bit sad to see him go, but you got to put on exciting fights. But I think UFC maybe pulled the trigger a little bit quick on that. I think they could have pushed him for maybe sign him for one more fight, and if let him be known if he's not going to get a knockout, or if he's going to keep with his crappy hugging style that he sort of went to recently. We're going to have to release you. But I thought he had a lot of promise, all the makings of a big star. He was a big guy. He was getting a bit older in his career, past his prime. And, the recent fight with Rizvan, he could have done a lot better, I thought. I was backing him to win that fight, and, he lost a decision. It wasn't a great fight to watch. Two big guys like that just standing there holding each other, taking turns holding each other. It could have been so much better. And I don't know, Jailton just looked like he was afraid to throw punches. Like, he just did not want to stand. And he's always been more of a grappler style. But even, getting people to the ground and stuff, he would go for submissions. In a couple of those fights, like the Derek Lewis fight, he didn't even look like he wanted to go for a submission. So, very disappointing. I think, we've got a future star in PFL, and some of the other organisations, I think, will pick him up pretty quick. So bye Jailton. You were good to watch for a few fights there, but no real massive loss in my opinion. And the next guy I've seen, I'm not sure if he was cut or if he's just sort of decided to walk away, or what the exact story is behind it, but glad to see him go, really, in a way. Basharat. This guy had all the promise in the world, Could have been a really top athlete, could have, put on way more exciting fights. But again, a bit like Jailton, just always played it safe. He threw punches. He was a bit more interesting to watch standing up. And he'd take people to the ground, but could never, ever seem to get a finish. I think it was something like 7 fights in a row, all by decision. And, you get that with the lighter weight classes. You don't expect to see a knockout or a big submission every fight, but he was never really, he was always pushing the pace, but same thing sort of as Jailton. He was never really looking to actually finish. He would try subs and stuff, but then he would just go back to control. Basharat, good riddance, I say. I never really got too entertained by any of the Basharat bros. I hope his brother's not too far behind him. But, same thing again. This guy will go to PFL or one of the other organisations and tear it up. He will probably win a belt in one of the other organisations. But, I don't know. Not cut out for UFC level, I guess. Just always playing it safe. You got to put on exciting fights. And, that's the fights people pay to see. And you want eyes on you in the sport, especially in the biggest organisation in MMA. And, I think it's good to see that UFC is starting to progress towards more exciting style fighters. But I think again, you probably could have told him, we'll give you one more fight. If you don't make it either exciting as hell, we're going to have to let you go. Because, he was a top level talent. Don't get me wrong. He was very hard to beat. Like I said, 7-fight win streak. So not sure if he's been cut. Not sure if he's just decided to walk away. But a good fighter. And, wish him all the best in the future. But maybe against some of these lower level fighters in other organisations, he will be able to find a finish, and it will be a little bit better to watch. All right. That's all I wanted to say, guys. Have a good day.